It's Wednesday at 4, which means it's time for Nick's Player Pyramid. One note before we begin. Although there are rumors that players are ranked left to right, it's flatly not true. And you might be thinking, if it's not true, why don't you make the players alphabetical? Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't have a good answer for that. It's just the way Nick wants it. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for Chapter 2 of the 2023 Player Pyramid.
All right, as you know, it's a 10-level pyramid, which means 55 players. Let's start with the bottom 3 rows. So these are players 39 through 55. Hey, let me just give you the synopsis here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Franz Wagner has fallen off, as has Draymond Green. Chris Paul is hanging on for dear life to a spot on the pyramid. And notably, 2 Knicks added to the pyramid.
Finally, let's go.
Julius Randle, who has played excellent, particularly last month. I will give him credit. And Jalen Brunson, who obviously has missed some time, but over the course of the season has earned his spot to the pyramid. That is Rick Brunson's son. And then if you will look at the top of row 8, you will see one Kyrie Irving, who has dropped a bit on the pyramid, but he remains somewhere in there. As we are talking players, these are essentially players 29 through 55.
29. All right, so let's look at this row. My guy Zion hasn't played since January 2nd. January 2nd.
Yeah.
So January 2nd. Pelicans have dropped to 12th. Kyrie, meanwhile, bro, lit up the scoreboard, not the win column. 3 and 6 when Kyrie and Luka play. Nick, your finals pick, a little bit
they're
rough.
Yeah.
Scoring a lot, not winning a lot.
Yeah.
Brew, bigger issue.
No, so we're not doing the finals right now. We're talking
want
Kyrie
this.
Ask him the question.
You want that.
I don't.
Bigger issue with their rankings, Zion or Kyrie?
Well, first let me say, I can't let this pass. I told you when you first brought out the pyramid, Franz Wagner, get him out of there. And Jalen Brunson, get him in there. And Julius Randle. So this is another instance of Nick saying, Brew, you're right.
No.
He's not saying it because, his pride and all that. But, Brew, you're right. All right, Zion is not surprising because we know Nick and he only fell because he's injured, right? They're 17 and 12 with him.
And if it was a one-off injury, I wouldn't hold it against him. But it's because now you really, if we were talking about, everyone's a free agent, starting a franchise, Zion's not one of your first 15 picks because of the injury concerns.
Right. So,
go ahead.
Kyrie.
Are you with
Nick? No, I'm not. I am not. Because this
what
is
will it
dirty.
Take?
I said it earlier, but this is dirty pool.
What do you mean?
Because you are blaming Kyrie just like you blamed Russell Westbrook for the demise of your finals pick. It wasn't a good pick to begin with. But now you're saying, since Kyrie, they would have won it without Kyrie.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm actually not saying that because the Mavs have issues other than Kyrie. What I am saying is, if the goal is to win games and not make the Bleacher Report Instagram feed, there are 35 guys I'd rather have in this league than Kyrie Irving.
Look, here's the interesting thing. What's better? Who's better between Allen Iverson and Steve Nash? I think most people, I would say Allen Iverson. Yeah. But who would I rather play with or have on my team? Probably Steve Nash.
But this is my problem. At least maybe Iverson, you couldn't win a championship with him as your best guy. With Kyrie, you can't win at all with him as your best guy. And if he's your second best guy, he might burn the team down.
See, this is where look. What I don't see, and we'll see see the next row.
All right, let's see the next group.
I would put him ahead of Trae Young because you think Trae's got similar issues
Trae,
as Kyrie.
So we'll go to the next group because I do have some issues with Trae. But Trae is the best player, has shown the team can make the playoffs. The team can maybe even win a couple playoff rounds if they get lucky.
That was
bottom. So this is now row 7, 6, and 5. The seventh row. What you are going to see here is guys who, if they are your second best player, your team is awesome. And if they're your best player, you're going to be fighting to make it to the postseason. Do you guys understand what I'm saying there? Sabonis, Paul George, Bams, those guys are all the best players. Those teams are really good. The other guys are the best players on a team. Those teams are just fighting to make the playoffs. Next row, Shout out De'Aaron Fox, man, Houston's own. These guys have been awesome night in, night out. And then the top of this are the guys that just missed the top 10. And so I would ask the audience two things. One is when you look at these guys, is there anyone on there that contributes to winning less than Kyrie Irving? Of course not, which is why Kyrie is properly ranked. And the other one is when you think I have any of these guys ranked too low, we'll get into the top 10 in a bit. But there is one very quick or very high riser compared to where he was a few weeks ago.
You're back on the Kawhi train.
Oh.
Because he used to be, I feel like Joker took a lot of your Kawhi
Well, I didn't
animosity.
Kawhi was one of the first guys that I think kind of started this load management epidemic we now have. We now realize Popovich and Kawhi was maybe the most notable guy, but then Kawhi did it in Toronto, then he did it outside of Popovich.
But now he's cooking.
Brew, he's been awesome since mid-January. Yeah, I mean, he has been absolutely outstanding. Now, do I have concerns about his ability to play for 2 straight months in the playoffs? Yes. Do I think that the Russell Westbrook addition was them shooting themselves in the foot unnecessarily? Absolutely. But do I think the Clippers are a very scary team when Kawhi is out there? It's unquestionable.
I think they could be as scary as the Lakers. I think the 2 scariest teams in the West very well may be the 2 teams in Los Angeles. Now, obviously, the Clippers haven't done it, and the Lakers have, so that's the difference. But I would put, to put a bow on the Kyrie discussion, I would have him ahead of Trey, Markkanen, and Halliburton. Halliburton's having a great year, but I would have Kyrie ahead of them right now. Okay. As far as Kawhi, Nick, I want to move Kawhi up. I don't see Ja Morant. That means he's in the top 10. Right now, Kawhi doing what he's doing now, 28 points, 53% shooting, 50% or 49% shooting from 3 in this calendar year, 2023. Kawhi Leonard at this, playing like this, is better than Ja Morant. So I would put Kawhi in that top 10 right now.
Listen, that's a fair point, and we will now reveal players 7 through 10. So, and again, this is not, there's no order here. There's just the 4th row of the pyramid.
Ooh.
We have Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Ja Morant. By the way, Adrian Wojnarowski just reported Ja Morant is going to be eligible to come back on Monday, but they expect it'll be a little bit longer. But the idea that Ja was going to miss the entirety of the season, we no longer have to, I guess, concern ourselves with that. And Ja, this last month of, I don't even know what to call it. But everything that he's gone through outside of basketball notwithstanding, he has been the best player on a team that could win the title. And I think he showed you he was on that trajectory last year. Anthony Davis has been having, I think, the best season of his career as a Laker this year when he's been out there. LeBron's numbers are off the charts, and Jokic, we know he's 2-time MVP.
Okay, so you've got AD top 10.
Yeah.
Again, it's just
when he plays.
Yeah.
Well, no, but he's saying it's not left to right.
It's not left to right, but it is
I'm not so.
top 10.
Because D comes before J.
Well, that's the thing.
It's not alphabetical.
It's not alphabetical.
It's just as it comes to me.
Willy-nilly?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you guys have seen like A Beautiful Mind where you kind of like black out for a bit and just write. Like that's how the pyramid comes to me. I
don't think it's anything like that. Those are complicated math equations.
Well, how do you think I come up with
the All-Star team?
I think they're
scrambled.
Okay, go ahead.
In any event, AD didn't make the All-Star team, but who's more important for the Lakers down the stretch, bro? Bron?
Oh, this is a good question because I do think AD playing like this is their best player because obviously he brings defensively what LeBron doesn't at this stage of his career. So this is tough, but what I'll say, I will say this, as much as I think AD is most important because of his, both ends of the ball, I would, if I could only have one healthy going into the playoffs,
it would be LeBron.
It would be LeBron.
100%.
He's done it. He's mentally tougher.
And I do wonder what LeBron, if he's fully healthy, will look like with this group around him, with the shooters that he now has around
It
him.
would be interesting because maybe he would have to go back to the older,
like 2018,
dominating the ball,
Cavs,
bringing
LeBron.
it up. Yeah,
absolutely.
Passing
All right,
the shooters.
Now we have the 3rd row, top 6 guys in the league: Steph Curry, Jayson Tatum, and Kevin Durant. These guys are undeniably great. Steph and Durant obviously have full resumes. Tatum is in the midst of building his. To me, these guys are had they played the requisite games, are obviously first-team caliber All-NBA guys. Tatum's the only one that's going to end up making it this year because of games played. But to me, those are guys 4 through 6.
Okay, so Brew, you're our official voter. You're not voting for Joker, as you've said.
As of now.
As of now, it's
on the board still.
Yeah, I wait till
end. He's got to wait till the end.
Look, because a few weeks ago, most voters had Jokic. They've lost 4 straight.
Sure.
He's been unable to turn around. Now, if they win the next 3, everybody forget about it. But if they go on a prolonged losing stretch, I think that might be a difference.
Are you okay with me having 6 guys in this league ahead of him?
No.
That's the thing.
And here's what I'm going to say, Nick, and it's going to surprise you, because we can figure out who the top 3 are. My personal preference for who I like better as a player is Luka Doncic over Jokic. But I think if you look at it objectively, you have to say Jokic has 2 MVPs, Luka has 0. They've both been to the conference finals. Jokic, neither is a good defender, but I think Jokic is less of a defensive liability than Luka.
Who do you trust more in the playoffs?
Luka's team is ninth.
But who do you?
Luka's team is in the play-in.
It's not an MVP vote.
No, but a lot of times when you rank guys, you list their accolades.
No, but
he's got more accolades. They've both been the same length in the playoffs.
But who do you think's a better playoff player? Who do you think?
Well, first of all, this isn't about just the playoffs, is it?
I understand. No, but
I think right now the 3 best players, and they're the 3 that the last 3 years have been the top 3 in MVP: Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic.
Yeah, I don't think that Jokic is better than Luka Doncic, which gets us to our top 2, which is Embiid and Luka. Embiid could have won the MVP each of the last 2 years. Luka was my pick for MVP last year. The team has not won enough for him to win MVP this year. His numbers are off the charts. And then we can also show you, of course, at number 1, it's undeniable. Boom. It's Giannis.
Let's go.
And that is, everybody understands Giannis is the league MVP. I'm sorry, is the best player in the league. I understand that our friends at The Ringer ranked Jokic over him. That's indefensible. He is head and shoulders clear-cut as it was for what? It doesn't mean he's necessarily having the best season this year.
Can we just stop? He's the best player. Give him the MVP. But that's all these other arguments. Oh, Embiid deserves it.
No,
he's not as good as Giannis. Sorry.
Well, I agree with that.
21 of the last 23. What do you want the guy to do?
Some of those are without Giannis, though.
He's even better. His leadership from the bench.
So there it is, the top of the player pyramid. I think right now, Brew, the best player in the league.
Oh, that's great.
We're in the same spot we were in the mid-2000s and in the early 90s, where there is not allowed to have another opinion. I don't think you're allowed to have be taken seriously if you say anyone other than Giannis the best player in basketball. Doesn't mean every year he's got to win the MVP, but he's the best player in basketball, and it's undeniable.
Just vote for Giannis.
Look, I'm open.
Okay.
Giannis, Embiid, Yoke. We'll see.
Baker,
Joker.
Now in Tampa Bay. Will he be as good as Tom Brady? Nick thinks so.
That's Nick's guy.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.